It's not my fault. You're just imagining that. Well, that's your perception. I don't really think you're seeing it the right way. There's a lot of different phrases and a lot of different things that narcissists say to be able to mess with your mind, to gaslight, to manipulate, to convince you of their lies. And so often people get confused, they get frustrated, they talk in circles, they have these arguments that go around and around and around to the place where you start to wonder, like, what are we even talking about? Like, where is this conversation going? And a lot of times a narcissist will get someone to get to a place where they are so confused and they are so frustrated that they'll start to take the blame of what the narcissist does. And as a result, the narcissist slowly starts to figure out and slowly starts to see, like, hey, if I can convince this person that it's their fault for the things that I've done, I'm off the hook. I don't have to think about it. I don't have to feel it. I don't have to experience shame or blame or any concept of that because, it's not my fault. And so often you'll have a narcissist that will say different things and manipulate in different ways because they're trying to take that blame, that accountability, and put it on someone else so that they don't have to feel it, so they don't have to acknowledge it, so they don't have to admit that it's even there. And over a period of time, people will slowly get desensitized to the idea and start to see and start to think, maybe it is my fault. Maybe I did respond that way that caused them to act like this. Maybe I yelled at them and that's why they walked out. Maybe I wasn't loving good enough and that's why she cheated. Maybe, and the questions go on and on and on. And a lot of that stems back to the relationship and the gaslighting and the manipulation of how it went to a place where someone came in your life, hurt you, abused you, came after you, yelled at you, raged at you, whatever it might be. And after it was all said and done, after the moment was over, after you walked away, the other person walked away, you came back to the table, you came back to the situation, and you started to apologize for another person's behavior. Narcissists love that. They love the aspect of you taking blame for what they should be responsible for. And as a result, they'll continue to put that on you. They'll continue to blame. They'll continue to blame shift anything that they feel. Any shame, that's on you. Any guilt, that's on you. Any insecurities, you must be insecure. Any cheating, you must be cheating. And they'll start to mirror, they'll start to blame, they'll start to throw it back on you. Because if they can put the blame on you, then they don't have to be accountable for it. If they can put the blame back on you, then they don't have to be honest with the fact of what they're feeling, what they're doing, how they're acting. It's almost like reactive blame. Like, I react and you feel the blame, but you start taking the blame. You start taking the responsibility. And over time, it slowly messes with your head, and it gets you to the place as an empath of, maybe this was all my fault. Maybe I didn't do this correctly. Maybe I wasn't fill in the blank. Because the narcissist has put it in your head so many times that you're not good enough, that you didn't look good enough, that you weren't young enough, that you weren't happy enough, that all this different stuff, you weren't confident enough. And all these different things are things that they've put on you that they've slowly stripped away piece by piece by piece. And it's gotten to the place where they'll rage at you and then they'll tell you, it's your fault that I did this. If you were listening to me, I wouldn't have raged at you. If you hadn't gone through my phone, you wouldn't be upset right now. Everything becomes your fault. Because the narcissist doesn't want to take that blame, doesn't want to take that accountability, doesn't want to be responsible for the fact that they've hurt or abused another person. And that can be really challenging because you're sitting on the opposite side and all of a sudden in a moment of clarity you're like, wait a second, I just apologized for them yelling at me. I just said sorry for how I treated them and that's why they cheated. And when it comes down to it, there's different things in people's lives. Like, yes, there's manipulation, there's lying, there's all this type of stuff, but you do not force anyone to do anything. That's a choice that narcissist, that toxic person made to lie to you, to manipulate, to gaslight, to abuse, to cheat, and the list can go on and on and on, but they made that choice. Another person does not force another person to do something. It's not like you stood there and threatened or held a gun to the other person's head and said, you need to go out and cheat. You need to go do this. You didn't. But that's how they'll make it seem. They'll make it seem like they're the victim, like you forced them, like you made them that way. I can't sit here on the other side of this screen talking to you and just say, be happy. And you just like magically be happy. Why? Because I don't force it on you. I don't control you. It's the same aspect with a narcissist. You can't just go up to them and say, hey, go cheat on me. And then boom, they're going to do that. I mean, they probably will because they're narcissists. But what I'm saying is you're not controlling their decisions. I mean, if that were the case, it'd be really easy. Hey, love me. Okay? They're automatically loving. Like, it's not going to happen. But the narcissist will make you feel like it's your fault. They'll try to twist and manipulate the truth so that it comes back to the fact that you're sitting there thinking it's my fault that they cheated on me, when it's not. Because the majority of the time with narcissists, it has nothing to do with what you put out. You could be the best wife, you could be the most loving husband, you could be the most faithful friend, and the narcissist still wouldn't care. Because it's not about you. And it's not about the relationship, it's about the narcissist. It's about my perspective. So as a narcissist, as I'm looking at life, it's not about how we interact. It's not about how we connect. It's not about how we love. It's not about how we have intimacy. All it's about is about me. It's about what I want, what's going to fulfill me, what's going to make me happy, what's going to boost my ego, what's going to make me feel good, appreciated, whatever it might be. I'm looking to fill a void. And with some people it's different, but it's still a void that a narcissist a lot of times is looking to fill, and they're going to try to fill that through lies, manipulation, cheating, all this type of stuff. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter how much you put out. Doesn't matter how much you've invested. Doesn't matter how much you've loved. There's people I've talked to on one-on-ones and coaching calls that have invested thousands of dollars, that have bought cars, that have paid for houses, that have invested tons of money in another person to have that other person just walk away. And they're always surprised and they're always hurt and it's always really frustrating. And a lot of times they're wondering, like, how could the person do that because of everything I've done for them? But on the other side, the narcissist isn't thinking of that. They're not thinking, oh, you did something for me. They're thinking, look what I got. And as a result, they'll manipulate, they'll lie, they'll twist, they'll change everything around to be able to put the blame back on you for their actions. You are not to blame for another person's choices. They'll make you feel that way. They'll make you think that. Focus on the truth and focus on the facts of the situation, because that's how you'll be able to cut through all the bullshit that's there. All the things that have you blinded and hidden and wondering what is really real. And when you start looking at what's real is how they didn't love. What's real is how they didn't respect. What's real is how they weren't faithful. What's real is how they cheated with multiple people at the same time. What's real is how they raged and how they threw things. And the examples go on and on. If you like what you see here, please subscribe. Follow me on different social media, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, trying to spread the message about narcissism to promote awareness, growth, healing, and change, and let people know what's really out there. I've been through narcissism. I'm the narcissist in my relationship, and I'm out here trying to focus on my growth and my help. I do that every single week through therapy and do it every single day when I talk with people and try to help them grow and become a better person, help them heal from narcissistic trauma, from the abuse, from the gaslighting, manipulation, everything that goes on in those crazy relationships. That's what I do. I talk to people and sit down one-on-ones. How do we work through it? How do we heal? How do we break a trauma bond? How do we break that mental confusion because of everything that's been put through? Thank you so much for watching. Leave comments, ask questions, follow me, subscribe. Would love to have you interact as well on podcasts, Apple Podcasts, or Spotify. If you're listening on there, thanks so much.